At this rate, I am never gonna get licensed. There's no way that they can like legally require you to. What is actually important in jotting down and remembering per session? So my update for this week is that I am still, I switched things up. What am I doing? You know, the last month or so, I've been really focusing on doing things to get more clients through private practice model, right? Like getting my own clients and taking that pay. And I was looking at my tracker that I showed you last week. Basically, I need 6 hours of couples, family, kids per week to reach my goal of getting licensed by January 2028, which means at this rate, I see 0 couples and families right now, or kids. At this rate, I am never gonna get licensed because I don't see anybody and haven't seen anybody that meets that requirement. I need a reality check that like I need to go back to applying to some of these places. So I've been using ChatGPT to find places that might suit my requirements. And so I've been actually applying both to kids like school-based sites and private clinics that have a lot of couples and things like that. And ChatGPT pretty much is telling me I have too many requirements. Basically, I'm looking for something local. No, it could be virtual, but most of the places want hybrid. None of that I've seen so far are like fully virtual. So anyways, I have to be able to meet their requirements of like where I see the client. And I'm looking for some place that doesn't require that I work at only one clinic. So I've definitely been rejected from places in the past, and some applications specifically say that you can only work at this clinic. Oh wait, what am I saying? Some places say this is the only place that you could work, which is also illegal. You can't do that. There's no way that they can like actually legally require you to only work there. Some other places say this is the only private practice model clinic that you can work at. So you could work there, but you can work there and work at another clinic if it's like community mental health based. But if it's another private practice model, they don't like that. Why? I don't know. But anyways, those are some things that I've been looking at finding while I search for couples and kid sites. I'm actually making crab rangoon and heating up my oil, so I should check that right now. Okay, I have like a couple minutes. I've been reporting out my revenue per week. I thought it might be helpful to talk about my revenue per month. I use Ivy Pay to track all of my revenue and like get all my payments. Basically this year, January was 1,430, February 1,365, March 2,170. So March is definitely getting an increase based off of like the 2 clients. One second, let me check. Okay, so I've definitely had an increase from the 2 clients, but also like any of my clients, like I've had a couple go to once in 3 weeks or once in 2 weeks. I'm not like fully set that this is like where my new average is gonna be. But yeah, I did want to like call that out. And then something else I was like thinking about this week is the different client profiles I have on different directories. So OpenPath is a sliding scale directory, and I really have enjoyed working with everybody who has come through that site. And I definitely have it more geared towards like so my client profile on OpenPath is definitely geared towards someone who is a little bit more emotionally attuned, maybe artistic, maybe has, I don't know, like limited on money. Obviously, that's why they're looking at lower, more affordable therapy. I really like that profile, and I use that for my website. I think some of the keywords I use are like people pleasing, mixed race, Asian American woman, always able to read the room, having a hard time like getting attuned with what they want and being able to express that to others. But on Psychology Today, I have a different client profile now. I'm really focusing on the fact that I used to work in tech. I know what it's like to have to work a job that's like very performance-based, high burnout rate, basically kind of getting into a target audience that has a very lucrative job, which is why they're able to pay $150 per session, aka $600 a month to see a therapist. Yeah, it's a very different type of client profile. And I'm gonna see what happens with my new Psychology Today profile, because I really haven't been getting any inquiries. That has not been successful at all for me. So that's another thing that I've been changing. And okay, the last thing is like I kind of skipped this for a couple weeks, but back on like my thoughts working clinically is like this last week or so, I caught up on my progress notes because I haven't been doing them for a really long time. And this time I'm really trying to focus on the patterns that I notice with the clients and think about like what is actually important in jotting down and remembering per session, because most of the time the content of what they're talking about, the context of like the fight that they're in or their relationship with their friend, things, the content isn't as important as like how they relate relationally and the patterns that keep coming up. So let me get my other journal actually. So the things that I ask myself after each session now is, how does this session reveal how they relate to themselves? How do they treat themselves? How do they respond internally? Where do they move away from themselves versus move towards? And filling in the blank for this. This is somebody who, oh my God. This is somebody who blank when they feel blank. So I try to generally ask these questions from the session to see if there is a pattern in like how they relate to other people, and like, yeah, those types of patterns are what I'm looking for now. And I have to go. I'm in a meeting. Bye.